And yes, the sun was shining through our window one morning when the curtains didn't move, and I looked up inside them and the light was cream and a little brown, but mainly white. She asked and I said yes. The morning when we walked through the ivy gardens, walked through the basin and looked at the blankets thrown on the floor and the dogs leaping into the air to the discs and the babies making friends. She was among flowers, really, and the sun was hot for a week. But this was just one day. And I said, well, yes. But the sun was bright and the photos were spoiled, and that was good. The sun shining through. But the rain on another day when I waited in her room, her speakers were broken, but I listened to music anyway through the crackling and the noise. And she said I could stay as long as I liked. I looked through her drawers, and I found a book, a diary, and I opened it, but I closed it again. The rain was against her windows, and her mother had made her a blanket, and it was warm and safe, but her mother wasn't really her mother. We had been whispering about her psh, psh, in her bed when it was her bed, not our bed. Her mother had shouted at her and not cared about her, who I cared about, who I always cared about. The music in her room. That was a day long ago with the blankets and the speakers making noise. She came into her house wet and cold and miserable, and she shouted to me about her day, and she took off her clothes, and she was beautiful and full. Her body moved through the house, unpeeled and fresh, pulling a t-shirt over her head while she shouted to me, her boss, Dara or Tom, making jokes about fish. There could have been fish in the rain that day, or at least in the streets. But she sat down in her towel now, her breath short and warm. And she kissed me before she started shouting again and making coffee. And yes, she shouted at me again one time on a train going to Hope, and another time in Drumcondra, and another time outside the Gate Theater. And I shouted at her as well, but not as much. She hated me, maybe, in those times, when I had done something wrong and she couldn't stand it. And I didn't say sorry, or I did and she was still angry, but I would ask her not to be. But when she wasn't angry, she was brave. And when she is angry, she's scared, only scared of herself, really, because she can't be angry and in love both at once. And she tried to hate me for it, or be angry, but she was only scared. And I would hold her at the end always. And she would kiss me. And even though my heart was breaking, I'd kiss her too. She was just too much, with her hair wet from the rain. Her friend, that bitch, Lizzie, oh, what a bitch, she told her to cut it all off. And I said, please don't, no, for me, don't, you're perfect, you are. But Emily, I said, you look so beautiful in the rain. And she started shouting again. And I laughed a little. And she got annoyed, but then she laughed too. "We are ridiculous. What are we?" she said. "I don't know," I said. "But yeah, we are." She asked, would she wear a dress? And I said yes, and she said, "I would wear a dress." And I said yes, because John told us that only one of us could wear a dress. And I know that they think that that's true, and that always in photos, they're never the two of them in dresses, even the old women. And oh God, that photo with the women where they waited so long in the wheelchair. And we can wear as many dresses as we like, because them, butch, Tegan and Sarah can fuck off with their everything, I suppose. But they're not that bad, but it's their fault. I should want to wear a dress. And it'll be white. Though we did do that a lot. I don't remember my first time, and neither does she. But it's a relief not to have to act like every new sexual experience is life-changing. They're not. But she was. She was a life-changing experience. But she wouldn't let me get a dog or a cat, but she would let me get a fish. So we got a fish, and it was ours. It was this beta Japanese fighting fish, and it was beautiful and pink and white, and it swam, and its tails were long and colored, which meant it was a male. And maybe we should be like that, like female pigeons, you know, dank and uncolorful. But we're not. We're more like trans pigeons, because we're girls, but we have colors. And what does girls say about colors anyways? Nothing. Thank the Lord, thank God, thank her mother for making this colorful blanket, knitted or crocheted or whatever. She made it full of colors for her daughter, who I make full of colors, who I take to my mouth, which is why her mother will not speak of it, really. The neighbors knowing I do that, and she does that. And the time we went to the birthday party of one of her brothers, and all his friends were drunk. And we were drunk too, but that was different, because we were only laughing at her and they were throwing cups. Her mother said, "Emily's friend, breathe. Emily's friend, breathe." She could have killed her mother. But I was there, at least. And no, that's not very much to ask, but I was drunk and with her, at least. And we were in the Ivy Gardens when she asked. It was one of the sunny days of the sunny week, and we saw people in big houses, and we drank cans on grass, and she had her book when she wasn't walking around. It was maybe Philip Roth, or maybe it was Hemingway, because, yeah, it was Hemingway. And I probably read Toni Morrison, because Toni Morrison sings, her books sing. And I had headphones in my ears, and I lay on my back and put my book to the sun so that there was only the book and white around it, and music. So that I was in another place, not with the earth, not with the grass even, just with her. And she said she wanted to get chips, and I said not to because they make my fingers feel ick. But she got annoyed, and she got them anyway for herself, and I got ice cream. And that didn't bother me really, but other things did. Until she kissed my nose. She was wearing sunglasses, I know. And we were young. We are young, but we were younger then than we are now, and that's important. And she didn't ask me to say yes forever, only for now. And the dog running close to us had 3 legs, and I liked him the more for it. And she often shouted. And I often couldn't stand how she shouted. And I kissed the boy that one time. No name, but I was annoyed. For once I thought, I am annoyed. She told me to leave our bed, because it wasn't her bed anymore, our bed. And I was there with the boy. And he asked, had I ever? And I said, yes, of course I have. And he laughed. And I laughed. And we were stoned, so we kissed. And we rolled around the bed, laughing and kissing until I couldn't forget her anymore. And we were in the Ivy Gardens when she asked me to say yes to her. Forever, really. But also for now. Even though I kissed the boy. Even though she shouted. Yes. Unequivocal. Sitting next to her in the sun. I said yes.